to the weekly Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy podcast. We have a very special guest for you today. Her name is Jeannie Sullivan. She is the owner and founder of Heartfelt Energies. She is a psychic intuitive reader who specializes in offering tarot card and mediumship readings to her clients. In addition, she's a Reiki master and teacher, as well as a Primus activation healing technique practitioner who provides relaxing holistic energy sessions that makes the client feel like they have had a massage of their soul. Hi, Jeannie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
Well,
I'm
we're
really
happy
happy
to
to be
have
here today.
yeah, we're happy to have you here as well. So tell us about your journey, how you got started as a reader and intuitive. What's your story?
I've read for a very, very long time, for many, many years. I read for family and friends. And then in about 2010, I decided to take my show on the road, so to speak, and I started Heartfelt Energies. And I really wanted to be a holistic energy practitioner, to which I am. And I was realizing that that was not drawing in the people, that people felt great, but they didn't quite know what was going on. That not like having your hair cut or having a massage. That feels great too, but you know exactly what happened when that happens. And when you have energy work, it's like, hey, I feel great, but what just happened? So I decided to also incorporate readings. And at the time, I was doing straight up tarot card readings. And then over time, it has morphed into mediumship. So I've been doing this for a business since 2010. And like I said, it started out being a holistic energy practitioner. And I quickly added tarot and mediumship over time. Mediumship came later, but I've been in business since 2010.
Wow, interesting. So what is the primary reason people come to you? What do you see with them?
So if they're having a reading with me, they are looking for clarity, they're looking for direction, they're looking for answers. Sometimes, if it's a mediumship reading, oftentimes they're looking for to speak with a loved one who has passed. Oftentimes, they're looking to see if the loved one is truly in peace. If they're the general question I get is so and so okay? And my general answer is always yes, because once they cross that veil, they become a sentient being, and their worries and their cares and all of that human stuff gets shed, and they transition solely into a soul, and things are much, much better for them on that side. Doesn't mean that we don't learn on the other side and do things like that, but the general answer is always yes. So they're usually checking in with their loved ones. And then when I'm doing readings, the loved ones come in, spirit guides come in, angels come in, archangels come in. So it's very much the spiritual realm.
So you've never had a soul get stuck in the dark tunnel?
I don't, I try really hard not to speak to them. That is not my intention, because I only speak to who is in the divine white light. That doesn't mean that they don't come. But I tend to speak to only beings who have crossed, because that is my intention when I set up the reading.
No,
I work really hard not to have uncrossed beings come during a reading. It doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't happen, because then there's some procedures you need to do to get them to cross. But I set the intention of speaking to beings who have crossed.
Well, what if they crossed but got stuck? I mean, that happened to me in one of my past lives, and that happened to my grandmother. I had to have her helped out. That's what the Buddhists call bardo. So it's a regular soul that crossed, but they get stuck. It can happen if the person either has a traumatic sudden death. This is why suicide is considered so bad, or like a explosion destroys you quickly and they don't see their body. Or in my case, I was buried alive, so I was under stress. I got stuck. But then when I checked on my grandmother on my father's side, she had gotten stuck. And at that time, I didn't know how to help people in that state. So I had a Buddhist master I studied with, and I had her do a bardo. That's what the bardo is for, is to help them
Mhm.
cross. So you've never run into that then?
I have run at it a few times. What I have been taught is what helps them cross is you can, if you are a shamanic practitioner, you can do something that's called psychopumping, which takes them into the light. Another way that you can do that is be very well protected as a human being and say the Lord's Prayer, and that will help them cross as well. But laymen call it as they need to kind of see the light in order to be able to finish their crossing, finishing their journey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I just open a channel, but that's cool. So that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your best secret for helping the folks that you do help?
My best secret is, depending on what they're coming from, I'm a very strong, very gifted and accurate reader. Like I said, I use a combination of tarot cards to give them direction, but also can speak to their loved ones as well. I do spiritual life coaching. That's probably my best gift because that gives you help over time and gives you structure and strategies to help through life. And my favorite thing to do is a shamanic practice called recapitulation, which, if you have had trauma, I put you in a meditative state. So you then can go back to that memory and do some healing around that memory. And at the end of the meditation, I have you actually take your power back. So you do that in some kind of form and fashion. When I do it for myself, I grab a big bouquet of look like Christmas tree lights, except they're flowers. And I get a great big bouquet of that. And then I put it in my heart. So it's empowering. And it really, we do things to wall off the memory. So all the stuff that you kind of carried that wasn't yours, you leave it in the memory, and then you turn and take your power back, which is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And the other thing that I love to do is energy work. Energy work can help you not only clear your chakras, but balance your energy centers and your energy in general. One of the things that I do is called Primus activation healing technique. And that does a really great job of negating the things that life throws at us, like anxiety or depression or anger management, or it doesn't get rid of those emotions, but it greatly negates them. And what happens when you come to me to have a Primus session, I raise your vibration to match mine. I'm already in the Primus state, so I raise your vibration to meet mine, so you get the most out of the session. I ground you to the Earth's electromagnetic field, or the Earth chakra, and then I infuse your heart center with this energy called Primus. It's based on it works with Earth's electromagnetic field. It works with the divine white light energy, and it also works with love. So there's a lot going on in your session. I'm filling you with Primus, but I'm also filling you with this beautiful divine love, which helps you to feel balanced, grounded, and centered. And Primus, like I said, Primus does an excellent job of not getting rid of, but negating a lot of what life throws at us.
Cool. So what can people expect when they work with you? You do the same thing every time, or
No, I don't do the same thing every time. Each session is very unique. Each session is very individualized, and it will change every time we work together, depending on what it is that you need, what your spiritual team is telling me, and what I am feeling and picking up on an ethereal level as to what you need.
So you've been talking a lot about this Primus system. Tell us more about that.
Primus activation healing technique was developed as a energy modality by a woman called Naisha Ashian. She had a program called crystal resonance therapy. That's how it started. And the energy modality that she used with it was called Primus. And she realized that was a strong enough modality that it could stand on its own. And crystal resonance therapy is it's a 2-year-long course that she used to teach that had a lot to do with the elements and crystals and stones, and how to use crystals and stones and the elements in a very healing way. And I did not do the crystal resonance part of it, but I did do the Primus activation healing part of it. And I at the time really fell in love with it. I really like it a lot. And I do a lot of Primus when I do energy sessions. And I also incorporate a lot of shamanic practice as well into my sessions. I'm not a shamanic practitioner, but Celtic shamanism is certainly infused in the sessions that I use. But getting back to Primus, it's an energy modality that uses and works with the Earth's electromagnetic field. When Naisha brought this out into the world, she really wanted to be able to say that it works. So she spent a lot of time working with physicists and got the science behind the energies of it, and really did a lot of research and a lot of work with physicists to be able to say scientifically, Primus does this because of X, Y, and Z. And on a ethereal level or a metaphysical level, it does this because of X, Y, and Z. So she did a really nice job of merging the science of Primus and the energetics of Primus, or the metaphysical parts of Primus, really together. And it's an energy that is incredibly powerful and incredibly moving. And it feels much like, I say, it feels much like having a massage for your soul.
How is this different from Reiki?
It's far more intentional. It's far more focused. When I do an energy session with you that's Reiki, I can kind of talk to you. But when I'm doing a Primus session, I am working to get your energy level to match the Primus state. And it's because it's so much more focused and so much more intentional, I really can have a conversation with you, because I am working, I'm moving to move your energy around and reshape it and reshift it and help you feel better. And how I kind of describe Reiki is this: imagine yourself in like this wide, slow moving river, and you're in an inner tube and you're kind of gliding down the river, and it feels great. And the water's not too deep and it's moving really smooth and slowly. Imagine that, like I kind of picture, this wide river. And then when you talk about Primus, shorten the banks. It's the same amount of river, it's the same amount of energy, but you shorten the banks. So it's more like this as opposed to much wider. So it's for me, I don't want to use the word intense because that's not the right word, but because I can't think of anything else. It is more intense than Reiki. It flows just as nicely, but there's more intention behind it.
Cool. Interesting. So how has all of this affected your own spiritual journey?
It has given me an enormous amount of faith. I've always been on a path, but in 1996, when I got divorced, I decided that I was going to get better no matter what. And so I went to a therapist, but also spirituality really kicked in in 1996. And I've been on a very intense and spiritual path since. Part of it is so I myself can get better. It's because I have a true belief in the healer heals thyself before he or she can be a good healer for others. And I've had a few dark nights of the soul, as we say, and have really worked on my stuff just so I can get better. And in turn, it helps me have compassion and understanding and empathy for people who come to see me.
Boy, isn't that
what I find is that a lot of people who come see me don't have the exact same story as I do, but it's pretty similar. Yeah. So, I have that empathy and that understanding.
I think all of the people I interview, all of the holistic transformers all have a similar story as well. The details are different, but we've all been through that dark night and then had to recover, and now we want to help others get through it.
Yes. And I think that that's really necessary when you want to pronounce yourself as a holistic healer.
I agree. So you also mentioned you were a medium. How is that different from being a psychic?
A psychic doesn't talk. The short answer to that is that psychics can't talk to dead people. Psychics are really good at reading energy, and they're really good at telling you some information about past, present, future, or like I said, really reading energy. Psychics don't talk to dead people. Not to make it more confusing, but mediums can be psychic. But the difference between a medium and a psychic is that a medium gets to talk to dead people or angels or the others, what we consider to be the other side.
The other side, yeah.
Mhm.
So what made you decide to open your own practice and start working with clients?
I was really, really called to do that in 2010. I had been far enough on my own journey that I really wanted to open this up and be able to help other people. And like I said, I fell in love with Primus and I knew how well it worked for me. So I knew that it would work really, really well with other people. And at the time, there weren't very many people in Maine who could do that were trained to do Primus. I think that's still true.
I think that's true
But I can
everywhere.
but you don't have to be in Maine to have a session with me. I can do sessions remotely very, very easily. And excuse me, my healing techniques have changed over time. So it makes it easier to do remote or Zoom healings through Zoom or energy sessions through Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom has really changed our businesses, isn't it?
It has, it has.
Everything I used to do was in person. Um, so, what sets you apart as a psychic and an energy worker? Because they're everywhere.
That's right. I strive to work with spirit in a very authentic and very purposeful and very clear way. Every time I do a reading for someone, I always set the intention that they get the messages that they need in a clear and concise way. And I am incredibly ethical and I strive to be very good. And a lot of my clients say, oh my gosh, she's spot on. In fact, I did a holistic healing fair a couple of weeks ago here in Maine. And this guy's like, oh my gosh, she's so good. She's so good. And he grabbed his friend. And he's like, you have to have a reading with her because she's so, so good. And one of the reasons that I am so good is that I work hard to be really clear and I set the intention and I do my prayers before I jump in. And I work to have the person that's sitting across the table from me, so to speak, to have a reading that they can understand and be accurate and not necessarily concise, because sometimes I can be pretty long-winded, but at least accurate.
Yeah, very good. So, how is the energy work that you do affect the chakra systems?
It does a really nice job of balancing them. It does a really good job of clearing and cleansing. And during the session, I think it does a really good job because one of the very first things I do with you is ground you. So when you're done, you don't feel kind of like left to your own devices to come back into your own body. I ground you at the beginning and I ground you at the end. It's kind of, I call it like ollie, ollie, income free. You have to come back. And it does such a great job of grounding all your chakras. And I would describe it like as a restart, like it clears the field, it aligns them, it gets them back in the forms and shapes that they need to be, and really gives you a nice, fresh start or restart.
Yeah, that's important. I know when I first woke up, someone did a reading and said your chakras on your back are all shut down. Can we turn
You're
them
like, what does
on?
that mean? And oh my gosh.
I said, sure. And the heart chakra on my back flopped around for about 2 weeks. I could feel it hitting my back. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It took a
Wow.
while for it to settle down. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty important work.
Yes. And the energy work that I do, that will not happen. You're not left closed and you're not left open. You are left just right. And I before I leave you energetically, I make sure that everything is all right. So you're not left to your own devices. So your heart chakra will not be flopping in the back, and your chakras won't be closed in the back or the front for that matter. And that's a really good point, because our chakras go right through. And they also, just because we talk about chakras and it gives you a great point to focus in on, it doesn't mean that that energy stays right there in our body. Our energy flows up and out of our body and then back down around to our feet and then back up. So the chakras give us a great point to focus on, but our energy doesn't stay where right like at our stomach or our this is your third eye. It doesn't stay right here. It flows everywhere in your body.
Yeah, the toroidal effect. So, what benefits are there from Primus over other energy healing?
Like I said, it does a really great job of negating and lowering anxiety, depression, anger management, and the things that life throw at you. I will tell you a story. Years ago, when I was first doing Primus activation healing technique, there's a meditation that you can do every day. And well, I was going to say not so much now, but some days but certainly back then I'd be really quick to be, my response often was anger. And I was approaching a toll booth here in Maine. I was going somewhere and this person in their car cut me off. I didn't think that there was enough space to cut me off, but they did. They cut me off and went through the toll booth really quickly. And I went, wow, that person's in a real big hurry today. And I'm like, what? I'm not angry. I'm kind of like looking at myself and I'm like, I'm not angry. I'm not swearing. I'm not yelling. I'm really calm about this. So it can really calm you down, even though you have an energy session with me or you do the meditation. If you do it on a regular basis, it's pretty long lasting and it changes your energetic makeup to be more balanced, more calm. You are far much more able to take that pause, especially if you've had trauma. You're here, and then your window of reaction is here. And if you don't have this energy work done, it doesn't take much to hit that ceiling. But when you have energy work, it takes longer, so you're more apt to take that pause, and you're more able to react with, wow, that guy's really in a big hurry today, as opposed to yelling and screaming and swearing and being angry.
Yeah, the typical reaction when we drive.
Yes.
So, can you describe a Primus technique? How is it done?
You start at I would start at your feet, and there are certain positions, like I would hold your ankles, and then at a very distinct Primus position to hold. And I don't have to touch your body. I can do this above your body. But if you lay on the table and see how my hands are like this, I would imagine your feet here. So I call it crisscross applesauce with your hands, and you hold your toe that's next to your big toe, whatever toe that is. That is very Primus, a Primus point. And then I would hold the sides of your sides down by your abdomen and the top of your head. And then another very important Primus move is I put my hands over your heart and I infuse you with this Primus energy, and I infuse your heart chakra with love. So there are some very specific positions that you hold, and there's a certain way that you hold your feet that demand that Primus energy comes in. You're calling it up from the universe, because I call it like you're going up to the department store in the sky of metaphysics, and you come back with what it is that you've been attuned to. So let's say there's a Macy's store in the sky or a psychic store in the sky. Well, if I'm doing readings, I want that kind of energy. And if I want healings, I want that kind of energy. And if I'm doing shamanic informed work, I'm doing that kind of energy. It's all the same energy. It just depends on how you want to use it, is what you bring down to yourself.
So you're bringing it down, or you help the client bring it down?
I'm bringing it down.
You bring it down. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm infusing you with that energy.
Okay. So the client is just passive.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. This is really interesting.
You're a little bit more active if you're doing something called recapitulation, but Primus is pretty passive. You oftentimes, the people who are laying on my table fall asleep.
Oh, okay.
Which I take as a very high compliment.
Yeah. Same with acupuncture.
Yes.
Fall asleep.
Yes.
So how can people learn more about the work that you do?
You can reach me through my website, which is heartfeltenergies, heartfeltenergies.com. I also have heartfeltenergies@gmail.com. That's my email address. I'm on Facebook, a little bit on Twitter, a whole lot less on Instagram, but Facebook is probably the best social media way to get a hold of me. But there's also, like I said, my website at heartfeltenergies.com.
And then you also have a VIP gift for our listeners, correct?
I do. I am currently working on manifestation and helping people manifest their highest and greatest good, but also their desires. And so I've come up with a journal of ways to learn or ways to experience spirit in a very easy and safe way. Because there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know if I can do this. Yes, you can. So it's a journal just to give you awareness of how much spirit visits us throughout the day. And it's more than just our loved ones who have contacts with us. You know, if you have a big flock of birds arrive in your dooryard, dooryard is a very Maine saying. It means the same thing as your yard. So what does that mean? What does it mean when I hear a song on the radio? What does it remind me of? So there's different ways of kind of keeping track and being aware of how spirit helps you out and how to ask for things that you want.
This is very true. Thank you. So, do you have any closing remarks for our audience?
I hope that you really enjoyed this. I hope that you're having a great day, and please feel free to reach out to me. And I'm going to offer one more gift, kind of a spur of the moment gift. Okay. If you reach out to me and you say something about the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy, and that's how you reached me, I will give you a discount off of your readings or energy work.
Wow, that's very generous of you.
Yes.
So all of the links, those of you listening on YouTube, all of the links will be down below, including the gift link and all of Jeannie's social media links and her website link. And if you're on the podcast, you'll have to go to heartfeltenergies.com, or you'll have to find YouTube to get the links. So Jeannie, thank you so much for being with us today. Your energy work and your psychic work and mediumship all sound really wonderful. I'm sure you're helping a lot of people. So everyone, please remember to be the light you want to see in the world. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much for coming as well. And thank you very much, Beverly, for having me today. This is really a lot of fun.
You're welcome.